So I recently put together a video that was sharing my experience going to a Harley Davidson dealership for the first time in the better part of a couple of decades. And as I wandered around that place, as breathtakingly nice as it was, there was no motorcycle in that dealership that I was at all interested in. And after I had posted that video, quite a few responses came through. And what I've found is, well, some folks are pretty passionate about the brand and were critical of my points of view on the machines themselves, but quite a few others could completely understand where I was coming from with all of this. But it's not just in the video that I saw an agreement with my assessment, it's in the marketplace. So what I want to do is I want to talk about where Harley Davidson is for the year of 2024 and how it compares to another manufacturer who's definitely bucking the trend that Harley Davidson is setting. So let's dive into the motorcycle market. Year over year in the United States, you're looking at about 500,000 units sold for about the last decade or so. And the year 2024 is really no different. It's on pace, albeit slightly lower, but to cover that number. It's around 95% average. Harley Davidson as a company year over year is up 1.5%. It doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, the problem with that is that, well, for the third quarter in 2023, by the numbers, this is from Harley Davidson themselves, motorcycle shipments, in other words, total units, is down 39% for the third quarter. Total revenue is down 32%. That's encompassing all revenue streams. Motorcycle revenue, in other words, the amount of money that just the machines themselves bring in, down 40%. Even licensing is down. Licensing would be the smallest number on the balance sheet, but licensing is down 5%. About the only metric that is up reported is apparel, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I guess that is about the only thing that a lot of folks can afford with the Harley Davidson nameplate on it. Shirts and leather vests, I guess. But the point of it is this: Harley Davidson, no matter how up they were at the beginning of the year, they're down by a lot. With the stock again being down 12% year to date, it's not very good. So why is that? Well, Harley Davidson, for a lot of folks, they're not building the motorcycles that they want to buy. In fact, I would venture a guess to say that anybody that was critical about Harleys before they went to these gigantic LCD screens or whatever else technology they've incorporated, it looks like they captured that crowd already. And the rest of the field, so to speak, was longing for motorcycles that really were that very analog, that very uniquely Harley Davidson experience. You know, a lot of folks, when they hear the name of Harley Davidson, that does conjure up a certain look. It conjures up a certain riding experience. And for those that are into motorcycling, and especially those outside of the United States, they're not looking for Harley Davidson to be innovative necessarily. They don't need extra technology for their riding experience. For them, they are only looking for that very analog experience. It's akin to, you know, like if somebody comes from a completely different country into the United States, say it's a European guy and he wants to go to a dude ranch. You don't need to put any technology on a horse or on a Colt revolver. These are uniquely American experiences, and riding a Harley Davidson is much along those same lines. I guess I'm illustrating that point to bring up the next topic here, which is a company that is doing exceptionally well in the same time frame, at least year over year, and that's Triumph Motorcycles. Guys, Triumph, the makers of the Bonneville, the Speed Twin, the Thruxton, all of the Street Triple, all of the Tiger adventure motorcycles, the Trident Standard, the uniquely wild and outrageous Rocket 3, the dirt bikes. This is a company Oh, and let's not forget the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400. This is a motorcycle brand that year over year is up 37%. Triumph is up almost as much as, well, Harley Davidson is down. Why is that? Well, it's because they make motorcycles for folks that just want to ride a nice, still traditional motorcycle. Think in terms of like the Bonneville, which is in every essence the same as the older Harley Davidson Sportster. Or you could even, there's a lot of correlations you can bring into this, but look at the Bonneville line of motorcycles. The Bonneville, the Speed Twin, the now out of production Thruxton, the Scrambler, the Speedmaster, the Bobber. These are all motorcycles that are extremely traditional and extremely analog and do exceptionally well. Matter of fact, locally, Speed Twins make up a vast chunk of actual sales. And that is a sporty parallel twin in the same guise that what we could have hoped for a Sportster to be. So where's Harley Davidson getting it wrong where Triumph is getting it so right? Well, in marketing, you have the 4 Ps: product, placing, pricing, and promotion. Now let's start with the product. Harley Davidson really only makes a couple of different motorcycles. They're all variants of the same Softail platform, or at least so it would seem, with a couple of outliers. But the reason why people don't buy Harley Davidson is because it's not anymore the uniquely Harley Davidson feel. It really does feel more like a copy. It really feels more like an import or a metric cruiser, depending on your point of view. Not very Harley-like. But maybe that's not the real key takeaway. It looks like Harley Davidson just simply isn't capturing a youth market. That new Sportster with the very powerful 120 horsepower 1200 cc V twin, that's a neat bike, but they don't have anything to compete with, well, the Speed Twin from Triumph. Again, remember, that's a huge selling bike here in the States. But they also don't have a motorcycle that does well globally. And in reality, to be in this market and to be in this game, you have to have a global footprint. And with the Bajaj-made Speed 400 and Scrambler 400 that Triumph sells, that is a huge revenue generating stream for them. Harley Davidson has nothing that can compete with that. It's a real shame too. A lot of folks, even in the States, are gravitating towards those small displacement bikes. Harley Davidson doesn't have an answer for it. And more to the point, they don't have an answer for, again, I've already mentioned it before, but the Speed Twin. What the heck happened to the Bronx? If Harley Davidson would make motorcycles for the more eclectic type of motorcyclist, I think they would do really well. Where Triumph does exceptionally well is they do very much rely on tradition, but they make motorcycles for a little bit of everybody. Do you like adventure bikes? Do you like sporty traditional bikes? Do you like outright sport bikes? There is the Speed Triple out there, where Harley Davidson just is not making motorcycles that people with a more diverse taste are looking for. And they're not really following the trends when you think about it, because in 2024, the area of the most growth, adventure motorcycles, middleweights, by the way, that really does and is holding up the market for some folks, and middleweight standard bikes. Those are the bikes that are doing the best. Now, Harley Davidson has the one, I think it's called a Pan America. A pretty cool looking bike. It is an adventure bike, but they're not marketing it. So that's the other issue. The promotion of the 4 Ps. I didn't even know that the Pan America existed. Heck, I didn't even know that the Nightster existed. But these are bikes that are based not on a true performance platform. They're more like an experiment, if you will, for Harley Davidson, or at least that's the way that I see it. And again, I'm just going off of the numbers. I think a lot of folks feel the same way. But I think the thing that kills it the most for the American consumer is price. See, overseas, Harley Davidson is looked upon as being a premium brand, but here in the United States, well, it's like asking somebody from Germany how exclusive a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW might be. It's the same for us with Harley Davidson. It's a nice bike, don't get me wrong, but for the price that they're throwing these things around at, it's a major turnoff. It used to be that basically anybody with a full-time job could at least afford some kind of a Harley Davidson, but now with the pricing being what it is, there's very few lower cost options for folks that fall within that aesthetic that they're looking for. So the product, the pricing, and the promotion seems to be affecting this final result the most. Now the placement, well, Harley Davidson does an amazing job with their at least regional customer support in terms of having those services available. They've got facilities, so at least if you have one of these motorcycles, you can easily get them taken care of. But the problem is that if folks aren't buying them, that placement really doesn't have a whole lot of bearing, at least in terms of customer support. So guys, I would love to hear from you. Is there a Harley Davidson out there right now that you are just in love with? Or are you a Harley Davidson guy that has strayed away from the brand because they simply don't make bikes that you are interested in or passionate about anymore? Post them up below. Can't wait to see what you have to say, and we'll catch you on the next one.